Hello again and welcome to the channel. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with Wordle because, frankly, everyone is familiar with Wordle these days. And a few weeks ago, I stumbled across this variant called Verticle, which is pretty much the exact same as Wordle, but the twist is each guess, you're guessing vertically. So, for example, here, the first guess for this person was weary, and the A is in green, which means the first letter of the word is green. The Y is yellow, which means that there's a Y in the word, but not the first letter. So instead of checking is W the first letter, is E the second letter, A the third letter, and so on, as normal Wordle, it checks all of the first letters. And then on your second guess, it checks them all against the second letter, and so on. Now, I've solved the vertical puzzle for today. Not on the screen. But what I noticed was the creator has actually created a YouTube video and he's actually created 14 other Wordle variants. So I'm going to have a go at 9 of my favourites in this video. So if I remember, I'll put some timestamps in the link in the video description below so you can skip to whichever one you like. But let's see how we get on. So I'm going to start with Repeatle, which is perhaps the most similar to Wordle. As you can see, all guesses will have at least one repeated letter, so it's very similar to Wordle, but it's going to require a slightly different technique because I can't start with chaos and inert or lumpy like I tend to do. So let's try stall, because that uses a few common letters. I don't have any good tactics. I've literally never done these puzzles before. And that has not been a good start. I want to try a double E, I think. So how about creed? That uses an R, which might be useful. Okay, so there is one E, but not a double E. So what can the double letter be? It could be a double R. So let's try rower. So it is a double R, and we know that it ends RER. Does that help? Yes. Well, potentially. I mean, we're going to have a vowel in the second position, I would guess. So let's try pura. Very good. Well done, it says. So as I said, that's the first time I've ever attempted this. Solved it in 4, so I'm quite happy with that. We move on to a puzzle called Worwordle, or Worwordle. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. Again, rules are on the screen, but the idea is it's 2 Wordles overlapped. So, for example, fishy hyena. I don't even know how to pronounce the guesses, but the idea is you've got the word fishy and the word hyena, and they overlap. So this is a valid 8-letter sequence that could be the answer. And similarly, spill and llama, or lava and vague. Again, I've never done this before. I don't have any tactics whatsoever, but let's try some common letters. Store and ready. Oops, ready seems like some common letters, so that sounds like a good thing to try. But it's not really a good thing to try, is it? We've ruled out the ST and O, which might be useful later on, but I don't know what would be good as a second guess. I kind of just need to think of a 5-letter word, I guess. Oh, I should mention, because I'm a complete masochist, I've put hard mode on. So for all of these, I believe I'm playing with hard mode, so I now have to use the R, the E and the A, which might come back to haunt me. But we'll see how far we can get. My aim is obviously to not fail on any of these puzzles, but that might be easier said than done. Right, how about, I like bunch or something like that, but then we would need CHARE or ER, and neither of those is a valid word at the end. If we use bench, Does that help? So now all we need to do is use an R somewhere. So how about chair? Bench and chair actually overlap quite well because they're thematically linked. So I'd like it if this was the answer. But obviously it's not. At least we know there's an I. So we've made some progress, and we've got an N as well. But we still haven't got anything else apart from the A in the correct position. So I don't feel like we're getting very close. Right. I don't think hard mode restricts you from picking letters that you know are definitely not in. So for example, I might want to try guide at some point. To try a new position for the I, try a G and a U. I'm not going to do that. I think I could, is my point. Even though the D has already been ruled out, I think that's a valid guess, even on hard mode. But yeah, trying the E in the same position again feels like a bit of a waste of a guess, so I'm not going to do that. Which begs the question, what am I going to do instead? Oh, we could even have something like train at the end, I mean, or brain or something like that, grain, but we haven't got the I there, so it's tricky, very tricky. How about something ending in WN, because that uses the R and the N, and then we would need, I mean, it's obviously not going to be prawn, because then we need a 5-letter word that ends PR. So let's remove that. I suppose it could be peril, as long as I can think of the 5-letter word that starts ILA and has an N in it, which I don't think exists. Ilana is a proper name, isn't it? And I don't even know if it's always spelt that way. So maybe the E at the end would be a good shout. What would be the 5th letter? Because it needs to be probably ER or E something. I mean, I'm struggling to even find valid guesses, to be honest. It's quite restricted, or it feels quite restricted. Maybe I'm just very bad at the game. That's always a possibility. How about if we tried something R-I-N? No, because then we would want an E to be there. What else is... What's a 2-letter sequence that we think could go here? It could be AW. I quite like something like straw and aware. So it's obviously not straw, it could be aware. So instead of straw, we would want to use the I and the N. In-law? Is that a word? I think it's worth a shot if it allows it. It hasn't allowed it, it must be hyphenated. So, what can we, or is there anything that we can replace those first 3 letters with? I don't think so. I mean, it could even be awake. There's lots of options if you allow the AWA in those positions, but I can't see. Yeah, because we're going to need to use the I somewhere. No, I was thinking Pilau and, oh, I don't know, a wane, as in on the wane, but I mean, yeah. I don't know which of those words is not in the dictionary, probably both. I think Pilau usually is spelt with a U at the end. Maybe a W is a valid spelling, but I'm not surprised that it didn't allow it. So we're not making much progress. What would be a sensible guess? I want to do... If ER is obviously a really easy ending. But can we think of a word that starts ERA that isn't erase, which we've already ruled out the S? And I suppose it could be something like choir, so it could be IR, but then that is just shouting irate. And we've used the T, which makes me quite irate. So, I really don't know the tactics here. Not being able to use the S, not having the CH combination or a TH combination, and not having an E in that fifth position is making this very difficult. I mean, it could be inane. Yes, I like that. I don't know why I've switched my letters. So if it ends in inane, we need to use an R somewhere, but that's the only other thing that we need to use. We must be able to think of a word that ends IN that also has an R in. Grain inane. I'd rather think of a guess that has a U in, just to rule that out, or in. But I think we're going to have to go with this just so that we can make some progress. Oh, and because it's actually correct. There must have been other solutions possible at that stage. Let me know in the comments below if you can think of anything else. Because I can't believe... I felt like I was thinking for ages because I was very bad. Possibly there weren't that many valid options left, so that's why it was very hard to think of one. I don't know. But if you find like there were a million other solutions I just couldn't think of, let me know. We're going to move on to Worwordle Plus, which is the exact same, except you'll notice there's only 7 letters because they overlap by 3. Now I think this might be easier because of the positions of the vowels, and there's fewer letters to guess in the first place. But it's not going to be easier, is it? So let's see how we get on. I don't even know what a good word to start is. What did I try last? Stare. No, I tried store. So let's try stare. Well, then it's going to be arena, is a... I don't want to use a duplicated A. So having said that this was going to be potentially easier than the last one, I can't even think of a good starting word. Stink and inked. Oh, now that's quite a lucky first guess, I think. So we start like that. Oh, it can't be ripen. It could be riper, but I'm not going to try a double R at this stage. But it looks quite likely that the I is there, because it obviously can't be here. I'm thinking it's there. If it's there, we've got a 5-letter word that ends in I, which feels unlikely. And if it's at the end, that also feels unlikely. So it's surely got to be there. What are we going to try third? It's going to be an R or an A, probably. Because it could be something like stare. An era. That's also got a double R, though. I mean, with the letters we've got left, it feels like it has to be an R or an A. And if we're going to... I think I'm going to have to try a word with duplicated R's. Maybe I should go for the other option because that uses an A instead of a P, but I think riper is a more common word than era, so I'm going to try this. Wow. I said this might be easier than the other one. I think that's probably beginner's luck. Maybe I'll try this again in future and we'll see just how beginner's luck it was. But yeah, that was a very lucky first guess. Obviously getting the first 2 letters helped immensely. Okay, so we move on to the one that I'm dreading most, I think, called Is That Even a Wordle? And this is exactly the same as Wordle, except it uses the obscure words that can't possibly be a Wordle answer. But they are all legal words. And they could also be plurals, so I'm hoping we get a plural rather than a really obscure word. but let's see how we get on. Right, I'm going to try rates as my first guess because it's got common letters and it's a plural, so therefore it's not a valid Wordle answer, but it might be a valid, is that even a Wordle answer? Oh, it doesn't end in S, that means it's just an obscure word. Oh, I don't really know what the tactics are now. Nouveau riche. Oh, that's so obscure it's not even a valid answer. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what obscure answers there are. Maybe I don't need to... Well, am I allowed to guess words that are not obscure? The solution can be any 5-letter word not in the answer. However, you're free to guess any valid 5-letter word. Okay, that helps. So we want to try, as I said, I think I'm using hard mode, so I'm going to have to start with the R. Reach is a valid word and will give me some more information. Oh, rejig. Rejig is quite a common word, I would have thought, particularly in English. You move things around, you rejig your organisation. I'm surprised that's not a valid Wordle word. Yeah, again, solved it in 3. I feel like I got very lucky there. That could have been a lot more obscure. Right, we move on to a number one. Now, if you've watched videos on the channel before, you know I usually do the Notwordle, so I like numbers. But this one is not a sum, so don't be scared if you don't like the Notwordle puzzles. This is just any 5-digit word, as far as I understand, and leading zeros are allowed, which is definitely going to throw me off. I mean, I feel like the logic here is just to start right in the middle, but not repeat digits. So I'm going to try, well, I'm going to try some low digits and some high digits. So I think I'm going to try all the odd ones. Okay, so it's too low, so it either starts with a 6 or an 8. And there's a 3 in there somewhere, which doesn't really narrow it down. Let's try 6, 8. I mean, do we want to try 4, 2? No, let's randomly leave out the 2, because why not? Okay, so it does start with a 6. So it's too high. Okay, we are allowed duplicated digits, so the second digit can still be a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 6. I mean, we might as well try a 2. In fact, oh, should we try the 2? It has to be 6 something, 8, 4, 3. Let me just check the rules again. Yes, duplicated digits are allowed. Right, so we know that the second, it's 6 something, 8, 4, 3, and that something is either 2, 3, 4, or 6. So I'm actually going to try 3, because then if it's too low, we'll know it's a 2, whereas if the 2 is too low, sorry, if it's too high, we'll know it's a 2, and if it's too low, we've still got 2 options. Whereas if we try 2, we still just have 3 options, if we're wrong. So I think we've got to try that now and see what happens. And that was very lucky. I mean, I could equally have tried 6, 4 as the third guess, because that would have also split the remaining range in half, or as close to it as possible. So yeah, I got pretty lucky there to get that in 3, but I'm not complaining. So we move on to Bigramle. Guess the word in 6 tries, and we'll get some Wordle clues as a result, but the word will consist of a sequence of the bigrams listed on the keyboard. So you can see down here we've got 2-letter combinations, and so the resulting word is a combination of those, basically. And all valid guesses must be words made from those. I think this is probably going to be quite easy because there's a very, very limited subset of words you can use. I'm going to try, I was going to try change, but I can't. I think the most difficult bit here is finding words that are valid with the selection. Let's try condor. I don't normally like duplicated O's, but it's a word that I can see with those letters at the bottom. Okay, and you can see already, by ruling out the R, for example, we've ruled out quite a lot of options. But we haven't ruled out the CO. But it can't be something like encode. So, what can it be? Oh, it can't be second either, which would have been a good guess, a good second guess to move the CO along. And of course the C and the O don't have to be consecutive, it could use the IC and an ON somewhere different. Although with the C not being first, it feels fairly likely that it's going to have an O after it. I suppose it could be, it could end in CH. If it ends in CH, then it has to have the ON in it, which is not going to start with, which means it's going to have to be the middle one. So it would be something ONCH, which feels fairly unlikely actually. So I'm thinking maybe it does have to be CO in the middle. So what's going to be the first bigram? It feels like there has to be a vowel second, but maybe not. It could be something like income, but ME is not on the list. Encost, is that a word? It's got to be worth a try if it is. Not. I doubt encost will be a word either. No. I might well get this in too, because again I'm struggling to think of any valid answer, so as soon as I think of a valid answer it may well be the correct one. Or at least that's my naive hope. Cut to me sitting here 20 minutes later still trying to think. Can it end in icon? No, I don't think so. So it has to be CO in the middle. I'm kind of convinced that it has to be CO in the middle. So, alcone? Don't think that's a word. Alcove, but not alcone. Ancone? No. We can't start with a C. We've already tried encore, but no, there's no R. Surely not etco. Inco, we already tried with the encode, which wasn't a word. Laconic. I don't think lacone is a valid. Yeah, that's not a valid form of the word laconic. And lactose doesn't quite fit. Liquor. That's not how you spell liquor in any language, American or English. No. Macost. No. I mean, second looks quite likely as a word, but it obviously isn't because we can't have the ND. I almost regret ruling that out so early. Tacos is only a 5-letter word. Tacos is not a word. Oh, what can it be? Perhaps. Oh, we're not allowed to start with the X. So close to being techno. No, so it can't end. ON can't be the last one. Oh. Neonic is not a word, is it? No. Oh, I'm making a big mess out of this one. La. In. Oh. There feels like very few words left. I really want it to be, I want to use a VE, I want to try alcove. I thought this might be really easy, and I still might get it in only 2 guesses, but just trying to find a word that fits is surprisingly difficult. Surely it can't end in CO, can it? No, I mean if it ended in CO, you'd think that the 4th letter would be C as well, something like stucco, but it can't be. What am I missing? That's not a word, is it? And that's not a word. And that's a brand name, and it's not spelled like that either. Locate is R. We can't. Why can't we have it LO? Designer. Why can't we have it LO? We can have CATE. Can it be oncate? Is that a word? Didn't think so. Can it be anything like that? Oh, we can't even have OIR. I want it to be ironic. It would be ironic if I couldn't get it and it was ironic. It feels like there's very few words, very few sequences of words that are actually words with these bigrams. Are we allowed to use... I think hard mode is probably not going to allow this, but I might try it. Yeah, guess must contain O. So I can't even just make some random guesses to get more information. Oh, this is a bit of a disaster, isn't it? Can't end in an S, because none of the bigrams do. Word not found. Recost. Still word not found. I just want to find a bit more information. Oh. I want to try coin. That's all the same words in the same order, and I don't even know if it's a word. Oh, recoin. Okay, so we're getting more information. And it's not CO in the middle after all that. That's where I've been going wrong. Okay, so it's not CO at the start, it's not CO at the middle, and it clearly can't be CO at the end, which means it has to be ON. Iconic. Oh, you can have duplicated bigrams. I'm not sure I realised that. I'm going to say I didn't understand the rules properly, and that's why it took me so long. In reality, I didn't even try putting the IC at the start, did I? So, I mean, that was clearly my own foolishness that caused me to take so long on that one. But there's that little bit of me that's going to argue I didn't know the rules properly. I'm really going to regret trying this, but we've got Bigramle Plus next, which is exactly the same, but you make 8-letter words using 4 of them. Oh gosh. So, what should we try? I'm I'm very tempted to try semantic, which is the example that it just gave me, because then I don't need to try thinking of a word. Well, that's been very helpful. Oh, and this gives you much less information, because before we'd have known at least whether there was an S or an E in the word at all, which would have ruled out a lot more bigrams, but here, as you can see, it's just ruled out the bigram as a whole. So that's been incredibly unhelpful. Oh, we can't have a CE. I was thinking distance, which almost worked as a guess. I really hope this one's easy. At least easier. What should we try? I've been sat here doing this for so long that the sun's gone down, so apologies for such a long video. There's still got 2 puzzles left after this, you'll be glad to hear. As I said, use the timestamps down below, or you don't have to watch the whole video in one go. But yeah, leave comments, because if you like this, or if you like specific puzzles from this set, I might try and do them on their own in shorter videos. I mean, there's part of me that's thinking I don't even know if I'm allowed to. I don't have a big YouTube account, so I might not be allowed to upload such a long video, which would be a shame. If this video's cut in 2, you know why. Right, let's focus on the job in hand. I want it to, what could end A-double-L-Y? Oh, near side. That's a valid guess. Oh, we're ruling them out one by one. This is not going well. Oh, I mean 4 by 4. But you know what I mean. How about something that ends ing? So maybe ting? So we need a 5-letter word that ends in T, where the first 4 letters are formed from 2 of the other bigrams. Or L, I suppose, because it could be L-I-N-G or R-I-N-G. Stalling. That's a valid guess. We've got a yellow. Where are we going to put the AL? It could be TIAL at the end. Material, almost. I might try material actually, because I don't want to be stuck forever like I was on the previous one. We've ruled out the MA, so it can't be correct. Oh, we didn't even get the TE and the RI. One of them could have been correct. So it probably ends TIAL, perhaps, like the word essential, but obviously not the word essential. I'm not sure I like these types of puzzles. The earlier ones I liked. These ones, it's so difficult to think of a valid word that's where I'm really struggling. I think maybe it would be better if you were allowed guesses that didn't use the bigrams, just to rule things out. Although that really wouldn't help, would it? If I could try a random 8-letter word and it would tell me none of the bigrams in that 8-letter word are in... Yeah, that wouldn't help at all, so yeah, forget that suggestion. What are we going to do for a guess? How about remedial? That's a valid guess. Oh, I wish I hadn't bothered thinking of a valid guess now. Oh dear. So it probably still ends in TIAL, but I thought of a DIAL word first. Collation. What ends Palatial is the only thing I can think of. And there's no PA. Oh. How about if it's TIONAL? But then what are the first two letters? Rational. That's the first rational idea I've had for a long time. Oh, and after all that, probably again, it still is going to be TIAL at the end. I should have just spent the last 10 minutes thinking of a word that my gut instinct was that it was going to end in those 4 letters. We've brought out so many things. It's surely not going to have an LY in. I can't see how it can have an SS in. Anymore, given that it's got to have a TI and an AL somewhere. Even if this TI is not third. Something valid. And the annoying thing is, being on hard mode, every word I think of now has to use the AL at the end and has to use the TI somewhere, so I can't get any more information now. Oh dear. Right, if it ends like that, it's not going to start with CA, CO, NH, inantional, irrational, inantional, orantional? No, unantional, no. If it ends like that, ancatial, cocatial, encatial, oh, lacatial, no, I don't like that. I don't really want to go through all of these answers. I hope it's not UN. Oh. I'm gonna kick myself, probably. Oh, inertial. Is that a word? Oh, we got there. 7 guesses. That was painful. I hope it wasn't painful to watch. Oh gosh, this one's going to do everyone's head in. So the word is encrypted using a Caesar cipher. So basically, I can't explain this. I'm just going to have to play it. I think I vaguely understand it, but I can't explain it. So I'll try and explain it as we go along. But basically, I'm going to start with the word stare. So that means that if we have a shift of 0, there's an A and an E in the word somewhere. If we shift all the word letters by 1, we get that, because R is 1 before S, S is 1 before T, Z is 1 before A, Q is 1 before R, and D is 1 before E. So, what we need to do is find a word, a 5-letter sequence of letters that is valid with one of these cycles. I've got no idea of the best tactic here. What's got, I mean, we could continue here with the A and the E faced. Oh, we're not getting anything in the right position, which is a bit annoying. And obviously this ACE, the actual word might be in this shift, which means that even though we've got an ACE which look like nice letters, it might be a completely nonsensical word in this shift. So do any of these other ones look more promising? Or we could almost have decay, but we can't have a D in that shift. We only need one that looks promising. Oh, we haven't used many vowels in this one. No, I don't want to try troop because that's got duplicated O's. I want to avoid duplicates for now. How about prawn? Let's try prawn in this shift. Oh, we've got 4 different letters and still none of them are in the right position. So this should make it quite easy to work out which one the shift is, because there can't be that many. Like, this is obviously not the right shift because there's not going to be a 5-letter word using M, O, X and K. So presumably somewhere there is a shift that has some really nice looking letters, and I'm liking the look of that. How about tiger in this shift? Oh no, because the I can't be second. Oh, it would almost be rejig, which would be a nice callback. Oh, if it can't start with the G. No, I mean, I feel like that may well be the right cipher, but I'm struggling to think of a word that fits for now, so I might come back to that. That's 22. I think we've ruled out most of the other things. Let's just do one more check through. So 22. Pylon? No, because we can't have the O. That could still be the shift. Apron? No, because it can't end in N. This is an interesting concept, because it's a double puzzle effectively. It's a wordle, but then you've also got the which shift is it, which is a nice twist. That one could almost be rivet, but we've ruled out the I. And I do like the way the letters at the bottom update every time as well when you change what the shift is. This might be my favourite variation. Maybe it was this one all along. So if it is this one, it could just be ocean. I think that's valid. Oh, so there was no shift after all that. Ocean shifted right by 0 letters. So that was literally just a normal Wordle that I made 10 times harder by trying to find a shift somewhere. Oh, what a waste of time that was. I would have done it a lot quicker if it was a normal Wordle. That was a fiendish trick. I assume there was a 1 in 26 or 1 in 25 chance. No, 1 in 26 it would have to be, of that shift being 0. What a coincidence. Right. And now, sorry if this doesn't fit on the screen, we're going to end with potentially the most complicated one of all. Basically, for every word, it gives you the Scrabble score, and then the clue is whether that Scrabble score is too high or not. Do you go forward or backwards in the alphabet? Do you go more or less common in terms of the word definition itself? Shortest word ladder from the guess to the solution. So if the answer was there and we guessed where, you'd only have to change one letter. So the word ladder is you change one letter at a time, but you still stick with a valid word every time to change from your guess to the correct word. And then here, if it's green, that means there's at least one green. If it's yellow, there's no greens, but there's at least one yellow. And if it's grey, then they're all grey. And the number is how many of that colour. So here, we've got 2 greens. We could have any number of yellows. But here, because we've got a yellow 1, that means there's no greens. So I don't think this is as complicated as it sounds. I'm going to try with inert again, because why not? It's probably a bad guess, yeah, because the score too low That was pretty obvious. We've got 2 yellows though, so we know 2 of the letters are inert. And we have to go towards A, so we want to go earlier in the alphabet. So let's try the only thing I can think of is craze. I don't really want to use for Z, although it might give me some information for the Scrabble, so okay, we'll try that. All 2 letters in the right position now. And the score is obviously too high. Okay, it's later in the alphabet. And that's too obscure, so whatever the answer is, it's more obscure than inert and less obscure than craze. I'm not sure that's a very big window between those 2. I don't think that helps at all. And 2 of those are in the right place. It feels quite likely that they're the A and the E. How about frame? Because that fits some of the criteria. So we lowered the score, we went towards Z. Yeah. Oh, we kept 3 letters in the right position, so obviously that was never going to be correct. Okay, so if it is the A and the E, then we need I, N or T still. And we have to go towards A, so it starts with a C, D, E or F. And if it starts with C, it's very late in the alphabet. In fact, if it starts with C, we're probably looking at words with O's and U's in. But the score is still too high, so we can't have that. We can't have 2 uncommon letters. Drone, perhaps, but that uses 3 letters from the first guess, and we know that there can only be 2, so it can't be drone. Drove might be a better guess, because it does still use the 2 letters from each of the other words. Go towards Z, okay, so now it starts with a D, E or F. It probably starts with an F, I suppose. But if it starts with an F, because the score is too high, the others must be 1s in Scrabble. And we've got 3 now, so it's probably going to have to be F. Obviously without the X. But the only thing I can think of there would be a Z. So it's probably not that. I'm not liking starting with an F. We only need to change 3 letters, or change a letter 3 times to get to the answer, which means we must be very close with drove. I sort of want it to be DRU something E. Is that a word? Because it's a very good guess if it is. No, because that must be less obscure than craze. I'm really liking the ROE, but if it is ROE, then it has to be an F at the front. And we're very restricted in what could be full. So how about instead if it's DR something something E? It would have to be a U. It would have to be droop, I think. And I think that that's not more obscure than... I think it is more obscure, sorry, than craze. So I don't think that can work. Whereas if it starts with an F, we need to have 3 greens from the row before. It has to be RO something E. And I don't think there are any options apart from throws. So I don't think that can be right. So I think it has to start with D. I might just have to try droop. I will be very surprised if this is correct. It might not even be a valid word, but I think it's a valid spelling. Score is still too high. Okay, so that means it definitely can't start with an F. And it's definitely too obscure. And we've only got 2 greens now, which means it must be the O or the V, and it can't be the V, because if we've got the V, there's no way we can only have a score of 7, so it has to be the O and the E. I suppose it could still be the D instead of the R, but that feels pretty unlikely. So does that mean it has to be E-R-O something E? And if so, what are the options for that X? Erode. I'm fairly confident, for once. We've solved it. Right, this has been an incredibly long video, so thank you for anyone that stuck with me for almost an hour. I hope you enjoyed that set of 9 puzzles. I'm more than happy to solve any subset of them again, even the Bigramles that I really struggled with. But I need some feedback, so if you're interested in more of this stuff, please leave a comment, like the video, maybe even subscribe to the channel, who knows. I think at the moment I have pretty much no subscribers, but I'm a very new channel, and you know, I've enjoyed the last 50 minutes of making an idiot of myself, even if nobody ever sees this. So yeah, thank you if you stuck with me. Yeah, bye for today.